In this video, we're going to create this planet of Mars in Maya with a green screen that will be composed into a playblast and then edited inside of After Effects. We'll begin by creating a polygon sphere. Next, I'll right-click and assign a new material, Arnold, AI Standard Surface. I'll name my texture, and then I will reduce the specular weight to 0. Now in the material attribute, we're going to add the built-in checker pattern in Maya. I'll click on the checkerboard, and I'll click on checker. And when we first look at this, the squares are not really square, they're really flattened out rectangular shapes. So I'll select my geometry, I'll go to my UV editor, and in my UV editor I'll right click and choose UV shell. Selecting the shell, I'll use my scale tool, and I'll start to drag down on the y-axis to square it out. I'll scale the whole thing up a little bit here so I can see the squares a little bit easier as far as the shape I'm looking for. And then I'll scale it to fit inside the quadrant with the checkerboard in the UV map. I'll return to my object mode, and then I'm going to go to Image, UV Snapshot, and I'll put it in my folder, and once I've saved it, I'll click on Apply and Close. Next, I'm going to open that up in Photoshop along with the texture we're going to use. I'll begin by selecting the texture, Command A, Command C, Command W, and then Command V. We're going to make 4 copies of this and attach them. I'll hit Command J, Command T, I'll flip it horizontal, and I'll put it next to the other one, and then I'll merge those two. I'll merge them by hitting Command E. Once again, I'll hit Command J to copy it, and then Command T to right click and flip vertical, and I'll pull that into position down here. Now if I look closely, I can see there's a bit of a seam here where it's kind of dark. I have to get rid of that. So I'll merge these two down by hitting Command E. And then I will hit J on the keyboard to get my healing brush. And the healing brush is going to allow me to go in and very carefully blend those a little better there. So if I were to hold my Shift key now and drag across, I can get rid of that little black seam that was there before. I'll hit Command S on the keyboard and I'll save it. And I'm going to generate a JPEG of it. So I'll go to File, Export, Export As. Choosing JPEG, I'll max out the quality. I'll hit Export and I'll save. Now we need a bump map of this texture as well. Going to my layer window, at the bottom I'll click on the little black and white cookie and I'll choose black and white. And now I need to play with the levels. So once again, I'll go to the black and white cookie shape and I'll go to my levels. And holding down my Option key, I'll drag on the light values first until I start to see some pixels appear. And then I'll hold down the Option and drag on the dark value until I start to see some dark pixels appear. And that's pretty much what I want. So once again, I'm going to go to File, Export, Export As, also a JPEG. I'll export, and then I'll name this Marskin Bump, and I'll save. And now we're ready to return to Maya to apply it to our planet. Now in Maya, I'll select my object. I'll right-click and choose Material Attribute, and in the Material Attributes, I'll right-click over the word Color and choose Break Connection. And then I'm going to click on the checkerboard and introduce the texture. Now I'll go back to my color node, and scrolling down, I will open up geometry. And we have 2 options here, opacity or bump mapping. I'll follow out to the bump mapping, choosing File, and right here where it says bump value, you'll see a yellow box. This lets me know that my texture has to be applied to this, so I'll click on it. Then my folder, into my project folder, and I'll choose my bump map, and I'll save.